Alright, so hey everyone, today I want to take a look at the Deadzone bug that's currently affecting MarveRivals. This bug should be fixed in the next few days, maybe it'll be fixed before this video gets out. But what seems to be happening is you can see that I have the Deadzone at 0%, so and making movements around that creates a camera movement. However, because of this bug, you don't get constant movement. So you can see that I can move the stick, but once I stop, you can see that the movement basically stops. It jitters if I move the stick and I'm not stopping it perfectly, but you can see that it's not constant. It only becomes constant once you break out of these axial thresholds. So you can see that about 26.5% can get horizontal movement, that's constant and normal. And same with vertical movement, you can see that it's jittery, but then once I move past this threshold, it's constant. Since this is an axial deadzone, this applies across the entirety of each axis. So this game does offer full diagonal movement, but you can see here that I'm past the horizontal axial deadzone, but not outside of or within the vertical deadzone. So you can see while I'm bobbing the stick, it is moving up and down, but if I stop the stick, you can see that I'm moving basically perfectly horizontally with some jitters just because I'm not holding the stick perfectly. You only start seeing diagonal movement once you're outside of both axial deadzones. So these essentially the pie slices here, in the diagonal corners. This also applies to movement, but the range isn't as noticeable, and you can't change the movement deadzone. So the normal movement deadzone is a 20% axial deadzone, and you can see once moving outside of it, you kind of jitter. You have to move to about 24% where you start getting a constant movement. So that's the issue. I did test this game fully a few days before this glitch was introduced, and one of the main things that I noticed there was the curves are all wrong. So it's really cool that they demonstrate the graphs here. They're just completely wrong. So a linear curve, the graph shows perfectly linear, but when I tested it, it was actually quadratic, meaning it started way slower than it should be. And that was the case for the exponential curve. The exponential curve range seems to be a linear, or almost linear, to a 5th degree curve, but testing it, it was actually a quadratic curve to a 10th degree curve. So all the curves seem to be raised to the 2nd power. And when looking at dual zone, you can see these aren't the default settings, but I have it set to be as fast as possible. So basically, once you exit the dead zone, it should basically make you move at maximum speed. And you can't see because of the bug, the constant movement here, but just moving into this constant speed range, you can see that it's decently fast, but I can move the stick further and get much faster. What it turns out is at these settings, this ended up giving me a linear curve. So this was sort of the case with linear, where if I move the outer dead zone inward, you can see that this, according to the graph, it should cap at 70% and just be 100% from then on. What I actually found was this was a quadratic curve that met at 70% input and 70% output, and then was linear from then on. So that was kind of an interesting issue there. I'll demonstrate that a little more clearly in another video. But what I want to sort of demonstrate here, though, is if we raise this dead zone to about 27%, and I'll change the graph for that, we can see that this dead zone size is just past this jitter range, so that once you exit the dead zone perfectly cardinally, you just jump into the constant speed region. And this can mitigate at least some of the early jittery areas, but of course with diagonal movements, it's still jittery. So in this corner area, once you stop moving the stick, you just don't get any movement, and your diagonals are still being kind of suppressed with this region. But you can see as far as the curve, once you exit this, the output speed starts very slow, and then increases until its maximum turn speed. However, with the dual zone curve, you can see that it should, again start at your maximum speed. But when you exit this, you start moving very quickly, but there is still a significant increase into your maximum turn speed. I haven't tested this formally, but I imagine this speed is exactly 27% and then built up to 100%. So this demonstrates that the dual zone curve is not scaled with the dead zone, and since when I tested it at 0%, this curve was linear. That linear curve isn't scaling. This could be something that occurred before this bug was introduced, but I want to just demonstrate that in case it was something that was previously applied. Because if whatever their implementation, where maybe if speeds beyond linear are just counted as linear, that might just be applied regardless of the dead zone size. But anyway, that was just a bit of a ramble. I'll try to cover this game more formally if it gets back into a more playable state. But yeah, that was a glitch. So there's about 26.5% axial dead zone, where within it just jitters, and the same slightly occurs with movement, and that should be fixed on the 23rd. I don't know when this video is coming out, so yeah, it might be fixed by then. But if it goes back to previously, there's still these curve issues, and then some small other issues to address. But that covers things, so thanks for watching, and everyone, have a great rest of your day.